All right, so we are of differing opinions on this one. The first two episodes of Creature Commandos has dropped on Max. This is James Gunn's official start to his DC universe. It is an animated series that's very much like the Suicide Squad, only they aren't the Suicide Squad. They are weird, monstrous creatures that form something similar to the Suicide Squad. The Creature Commandos are still under the purview of Amanda Waller. However, the head of the Creature Commandos is Rick Flag Sr., who is Rick Flag Jr.'s father. And in this series, they're off to the fictional country of Pakistan that is experiencing some unrest, and they need to protect its future queen. That's all you need to know going into this. I think this is a 10 out of 10. I absolutely fucking love it. Because for me, it is wild and crazy and incredibly comic book. It is the kind of stuff that Marvel isn't even going to touch. It is grown up and it is just weird. And what's interesting about this for me is that it's the kind of weirdness that only James Gunn knows how to pull off, with how he can take these random, strange characters and make them interesting and human and give them heart. And in just 2 episodes, I found myself already connecting with these characters. So for me, this is a great start to his DC universe. Doesn't work for you, though.
It doesn't work for me. I just felt the show tonally didn't work for me. I get what you're saying and I see all of that. And if that is what you like and that turns you on, great. For me, it just didn't quite work. I was mostly surprised that it's one mission. I was kind of hoping for a mission of the week thing, which I felt could have been more fun, could have worked out a little better. But it is that weird tone of a little dirty / adult, because there are some...
There's sexiness.
Eyebrow-raising adultness in this cartoon series.
Yes.
There's that, and then there's also a real sort of heavy, emotional, gut-wrenching hit towards the end of episode 2. It starts off immediately. I just felt myself feeling a little lost. I think I didn't know any of the characters other than being tangentially aware of them, like Dr. Phosphorus, like Frankenstein's bride. It just didn't work for me. I don't know why. I felt I was mostly kind of bored. You know what it is? It is the same way I feel about Harley Quinn.
As in the animated series?
Sorry, as in the animated Harley Quinn.
Really?
Yeah, like I tried very hard to watch the first season of that, and I watched it, but nothing made me go, okay, cool, I can't wait for season 2.
Interesting.
Yeah. Am I just old now? Do I not like cartoons? Is that what it is?
No, I don't think so. Maybe you just don't like these characters. Maybe it's just not the comic books you would buy and read.
It is absolutely not the comic books I would buy and read.
I'm aware of a lot of these characters, but I haven't read many stories with them. And they're not, as you say, on my pull list in any way. However, I like the fact that it started immediately. I like the fact that there was absolutely zero setup. Like the setup was primarily in the opening credits, which I also love, by the way. I love the opening credits. I love the music. I love that James Gunn is featured in the opening credits, an animated version of himself.
I don't know, man. That feels a little self-indulgent.
It is, but you know what? I think he's earned it. Like for me, even his Suicide Squad was probably the best thing out of the old DCEU. That's the other thing that took me by surprise. His Suicide Squad is still canon, as is his Peacemaker, because it is referenced, or rather, Rick Flag's death is referenced. James Gunn recently released a statement talking about how people take canon far too seriously. We've spoken about that because we just don't really give a shit about canon, because if you've read comic books for any length of time, you realize that canon is irrelevant because people change it up all the time. And so I think it's interesting that he is creating a sense of what is canon. So he is saying, hey, this is my show now. This is what I consider canon. You can ignore all the previous stuff. If someone else takes over in the future, they may change things up. Ho hum, who cares? It happens in comics all the time. In the meantime, just enjoy this for what it is.
Yeah.
I quite like that.
And if you don't enjoy it, shut up.
The Creature Commandos voice cast is also absolutely stunning. And what's great about this voice cast is, according to Gunn himself, if these characters make the jump to live action, they will be portrayed by the same people who voiced them in the animated versions.
That feels fair.
I think that's cool too. I would love to see David Harbour as a live action Frankenstein. I think that would be fucking cool.
What I want to see is Indira Varma as Frankenstein's bride.
That is cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there nothing you liked about it? Because for me, everything hit on every level. Like the chemistry between the characters, the building of the relationships in such a short period as well. These are like 28 to 30-minute episodes. For me, that's where the writing really hit home, because I was like, this is snappy, this is quick, it's getting to the point, but at the same time, there are emotional stakes with everything that is going on. I enjoyed all of that stuff. And for me, this was a very solid start.
I agree it's a solid start. But for me, that solid start is very much a 5 or 6 out of 10.
Wow. Okay.
I acknowledge that it is all very good. It's just that it didn't work for me.
Sure.
I will probably keep watching this, and I want to see if that 6 will grow to a 7. I can see myself being turned by the show. Maybe just the first 2 episodes was an adventure that I didn't enjoy. Like, I cannot pick out why I didn't enjoy it. Like, I thought the fight between Dr. Phosphorus and Rick Flag Sr. was great. I thought the pull between Princess Ilana and Rick Flag Sr. was cute, was awkward, was uncomfortable. Yet I note that that was the point of it, which I like.
I also really like G.I. Robot.
I think G.I. Robot's just constant need to kill Nazis is cute, is great. I much prefer the animated Weasel over the live action Weasel.
I agree.
Yet it didn't work. And I put that down to maybe I just don't care about the story. Maybe I just don't care about the adventure that the characters are going on now. Maybe I needed 2 or 3 episodes of them just doing simple case of the weeks, just so I can like get pulled into the gang before they do one big story arc.
Yeah.
So for me, it's that. I also didn't quite enjoy at the end of episode 2, when they flash forward the relationship between Frankenstein and the bride. I just felt like, did I need to see that? It didn't kick me out. It wasn't a problem. It felt like a cute gimmick montage thing.
For me, that felt like a very good narrative shortcut. So we can move things along. And then when we get to episode 3, which I think will bring us to a proper confrontation between the bride and Frankenstein, you don't need to explain any of that anyway.
Yeah, but I don't think I needed it. From the backstory of the flashbacks already, I felt like that was fine. I thought the crash that was the end of that relationship in the 18 whatevers was sufficient.
Right.
I didn't need to see the rest of it.
I like the fact that they were constantly at each other's throats for hundreds of years.
I don't know. I disagree. I don't think the term is at each other's throats. I think he is a lovesick puppy.
He was stalking her. She was beating the shit out of him.
I'm kind of disappointed with myself that didn't work.
No, I think that makes sense. It happens to me when I buy comic books. And I think a lot of the time, even when I buy certain comic books based on its title alone, and then I discover that these characters aren't working for me, oftentimes I find that the comics are very well written. I'm just not connecting to any of the characters.
Exactly. Or the story that is being told.
And then I kind of fall out of it very quickly. I think a very good example is Jonathan Hickman's X-Men run, which started off very, very good. Yeah. But then when they kind of drifted away from the core X-Men team, I started to lose interest, and I was just like, oh yeah, I need Cyclops, and I need Wolverine, and I need Jean Grey, and I need the core team. Like, the other ones are fine, the other characters are great, but I'm just not as interested in them.
But it's also, I need the core team together.
Yes, that too.
Like, sure, Wolverine can have his own adventure once in a while, but I need them to be adventuring as the X-Men.
One other thing I really enjoyed, which was quite different, I enjoyed James Gunn's needle drops in this one, because I don't know where the music is from, but it all feels like it's Russian and Eastern European, and it was kind of funky.
You know what it is? It feels like that. There was this link a while back that I bumped into about how in the 70s, Muammar Gaddafi, while trying to make Libya cool, brought in all these indie underground bands to put together a Libya is Great sort of funk album. It feels like that. It feels like a Russian oligarch's idea of what the Americans would like about music. So let's get them to write it about Russia.
Exactly.
It's like bootleg cool pop rock.
You've heard about yacht rock. This is communist rock.
This is communist rock. Can I just say, communist rock is pretty great.
It is good. The needle drops are very good. I think there is a playlist on Spotify that James Gunn has set up, and he's going to keep adding tracks as the episodes come out. So I want to go check that out and see where these artists are from. But it sounds exactly like what you're saying. It sounds like it might be Gaddafi, Libya rock.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
Propaganda rock.
But you keep giving it a chance. Let me know if you change your mind. I'm curious as to what other people think. So let us know what you think about Creature Commandos. It is now streaming on the all-new Max, which is, of course, available in Malaysia. Check it out. Let us know what you think. You know how to reach out. Goggler MY, all of our social media feeds. You can also email us on podcast@goggler.my or send us a WhatsApp on the Goggler hotline, 012-524-5208. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Goggler Podcast.